Very good morning and welcome back to Pokljuka in Slovenia for the third sprint of the season. And what a change in conditions from yesterday. Bright blue skies up here on the stadium, but today it's thick, heavy snow. And I think, Mike, that's why so many of the top seeds decided that it wasn't worth going in group number one. Consequently, we have the smallest group one we've had for many seasons.
And that really is where you need the good weather forecasting. They've got it exactly right. Only 14 athletes kicking off in the first group, and you've got to say, Patrick, this amount of snow, the track hasn't been really skied on over the last 10 minutes or so, and it is a bit of an advantage in this first 14.
Yeah, you have to feel a little for Nakajima, who's going to be the first away for the Japanese. I'm wondering whether the favourites, who have all piled into group two, whether they'll be thinking maybe we should have gone for group three because group one is so small.
Well, the track certainly, you would expect, as this unwinds, of course, 3 times around the same course of 2.5 kilometres. Definitely, I would have gone for group 3 without a doubt. And then you've still got people to get in contact with, people who are starting their race, and that's a drag-on factor.
Well, it's a good thing it's not a classic race, because 0 degrees and the snow temperature at -1, just about the worst conditions you can have for classic, with the fresh snow as well. But when did Biathlon? 1985, I think they abandoned all classic races, and it's all been about skating since then. Were you happy when that, because you were obviously active as far as athletes go?
I was cross-country skiing at the time, but I thought it was I envied Biathlon making that brave decision to just make it purely skating rather than the difficulties of the waxing, the clister, and I think it was a very sensible move by the IBU.
Well, just a couple of minutes now before the start of the women's sprint. Well, a very good morning and welcome to Pokljuka. It's not the best of days for biathlon, but the crowds are still turned up and they're obviously in good spirits, so hopefully they'll inspire some good performances as well. Now, Tora Berger is very much the flavour of the month as far as the women's biathlon goes, Mike. 5 podiums she's had in succession this season. 3 wins, of course, won the first 3 races. I was just thinking back over other great runs of success, and if we go all the way back to Magdalena Forsberg, I mean, 42 World Cup wins in her career. Unfortunately, it will take us a day and a half to dig out all the records to find out how many times she finished on the podium in succession. Can you think of any others that were impressive?
There have been, over the years, one that springs to my mind. We have to go a long, long way back, and it's Anafisa Retsova, when she came from cross-country skiing into biathlon in the late 80s. She skied so fast that she could miss 3, 4 targets and still win. So I remember she was consecutively about 5 times as well on the podium.
Well, Wilhelm managed 10 top 5s in succession. Neuner, I think, probably sticks out from 2010. 9 podiums. She went all the way from Pokljuka to the Olympics in Vancouver without being off the podium. That was some record. Tora Berger's got a little way to go before she matches that, but we'll keep that in mind as this race unfolds. Nakajima of Japan is away, and the only really significant news we've got on the start sheet is that Daria Domracheva of Belarus is not racing. She's not feeling 100%.
I've just also heard, Patrick, that Vaya Syamarenko, she had some problems with her bronchitis in Hockville, since she went to the hospital in Ljubljana, 40 k's down the road. She's been training in the gym for 3 days, but they've just announced that she will not start today. She might start in a mass start.
Well, that's disappointing for Vaya Syamarenko. Her twin is racing, Vita, and Vita having a much better season than Vaya at the moment. That's something that we always, the battle between the twins, and they so often end up very close together, but Vaya's some way off the mark. Kalinchik is underway for Belarus. We've got Karin Oberhofer about to start for Italy. Ponza Grows in Group 2. We've got Gontier goes Group 3, and Fiorentino goes number 101. And she's the last away today. So that's the Italian 4.
Well, you never know. I was just thinking, if it does back off or stop snowing, then Fiorentino may well be in the best place to be starting last.
Megan Heineke for Canada. And the Canadians, I guess, will have been watching the cross-country over the weekend, getting a little bit homesick seeing the racing going on in Canmore.
What a beautiful place, and Well, if you're Canadian and you're a skier, you've most certainly been to Canmore, you've trained in Canmore, and for me, one of the most outstanding venues. Henke did well last week, 57th in the sprint, but moved all the way up to 29th in the pursuit the following day in Hofvilsen.
First of the Swedes away today is Ellen Madsen, and Sweden a much weakened team with the retirement of Helen Jonsson, or Helena Ekholm, of course, as she was once she married David. And actually, if you're interested in following her career, we do get a lot of emails saying what's Neuner doing now, what's Forsberg doing now. Well, Ekholm has gone straight into work. She's living a very normal life now. She's an economist and has got straight down to the 9 to 5, which really is quite an achievement, Mike, having had so many years of biathlon.
It's a difficult transition to make. All the success that she's had over the years, then to be doing a normal day's work, she'll feel empty for a while.
Well, we had significant success for the host nation yesterday. Are we going to see the same again today? I'm not sure. Andrea Marley and Taya Grigorin go 68 and 69. They've got a good start positions, actually, and I think the locals knew exactly where the best place to start was. So we'll follow their performances throughout the day. I can't see them winning, Mike, but if they get top 5 or 6, that would be an outstanding day.
It would, and well, with Domracheva not in the race today, it might give Grigorin that little boost that she needs.
Reka French for Romania. Best she's achieved in her career so far is a 31st position. That's good enough for World Cup points, but she'll be looking to break the top 30 today, and maybe with these difficult conditions, this is a great opportunity for her. And she's got one of the top Russians going after her, a Katerina Orlova, who is an outside chance for a win, but she certainly has the potential, having a very good prone record of 92%. And of course, she's fast enough to win. So if she hits 100% today, it might well be her day.
I was going to say it would need to be 100% hit rate. She's just, what, some 25, 30 seconds off the pace on the skis. And that is quite a margin in today's biathlon.
She'll be followed out of the start gate by Martina Shrapanova, 22-year-old from Slovakia. Hildebrand goes for Germany in Group 1, Boyer for France, and then Elise Ringen for Norway.
It's good to see this first rise out of the stadium, Patrick. The gentle climb under the bridge, climbs a little further, we'll see it here, and then into the woods, and then it drops back down for a more easy section of 200-300 meters.
Franziska Hildebrand. The Germans, I guess, still in a transition phase, and every time they start to build a team, one of the top guns retires. And very difficult for a coach in those circumstances, Mike. But this is where we're going to see whether Germany have been putting enough effort and enough finance into the development, the youngsters coming through. And I guess that's quite difficult when you've got women like Henkel and Beck and, of course, Wilhelm and Neuner. It's easy just to put all the focus and attention on them.
It is, and you mentioned they're in a kind of a transition phase, and they're really unsettled. Julianne Dahl and Caroline Henneke, who were racing in Hofvilsen, they've been dropped back down to IBU Cup. And of course, Evie Sachenbacher, for the first time, the cross-country skier, brought in today, and also Franziska Hildebrand, who we just saw racing. So every week they're chopping and changing, just trying to find who's on form, who can handle World Cup pressure.
So it can be a little unsettling, but it does mean the pressure remains on the athletes to perform.
But I think it's worrying, sorry, in that they haven't got this core group of 5 or 6 that they can rely upon.
But the Norwegians do the same. The Norwegian men, Lars Berger, he's in and out of the World Cup, down to the IBU one week, promoted to the World Cup the next week. It doesn't do them any harm.
No, it doesn't, and it keeps them on their toes. You have to keep performing as an athlete. You're under pressure all the time, and you have to be you're able to cope with that pressure.
Well, I think a classic example to prove that that's a good thing is the British team that don't really work that system as well. And once you're in the A team and you're in the World Cups, you tend to be there for the whole season. Maybe you need a little bit of pressure, just as you say, to keep you on your toes, keep you pushing. Possibly a little bit of change, and a refreshing change isn't a bad thing. So the first of the big guns to get underway is Kaisa Mäkäräinen, 5 wins in her career, and she's currently lying 5th in the World Cup standings, thanks really to 2 good performances in Hogfilson, both on the podium, a 2nd and a 3rd. She'd like to complete that sequence and get herself her first win of the season. She, of course, won the overall World Cup back in 2011. That was a little bit of a surprise, but a really fantastic season from Mäkäräinen. Now, I think there's more competition. Domracheva and Berger, and of course, Orlova and other Russians
coming through. It's been good to see how so much of Orlova. It's given us a chance to see the track, and again, it's climbing. Almost 4 minutes of continual climb from the start point. It's a tough course here.
Good strong legs, Orlova. It's not tall. In fact, many of them are much smaller than you would imagine, especially having to carry the rifle around. Nakajima started first, and first to try her luck on the range.
Now in this heavy snow, Patrick, a lot of the athletes have opted for the front of the rifle, the sight which fits in there. They've put in a larger sight from, let's say, 3.4 up to a 3.8. And also the rear aperture, they've opened that up to get more light in.
Hasn't helped Nakajima, those 2 misses, very expensive indeed. And we go back to the start gate for Elena Pidrushna, 2nd in the sprint in Östersund. That was her personal best, and certainly she'll be looking to repeat that sort of performance. She only shot 0-1 on that occasion, and so she knows that there is better if she can go clear.
I think Pidrushna must again be feeling good, and possibly for her first victory. A 2nd place, as you say, 2 weekends ago.